What's a little hard here is that our space is really long.
Yeah.
If we put it there, I feel like you don't get so much room.
Yeah, this is fine for now, and we can kind of, I'm imagining that we're going to do chunks and then travel to a new space in the forest chunk, something like that. So we might just need to moonwalk in place.
Thank you, guys. It was really fun to peek into your living room and watch you try to do a dance. And I don't know how big a space that is. Not very, right?
It's not very big. No, it's pretty small.
The settings that he was talking about, right?
Touch up my appearance, of course.
We want that.
We want that. Trying to figure things out.
It's all good. All right, what are we doing? Your name's Elle. Your name's Dylan. My name's Penny.
Penny.
Thanks for learning that little ditty.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's simple.
Yeah.
It looks way less geriatric on y'all. Yeah.
Oh no, we had moments. We had to figure it out.
Can I see if Elle were to turn on to Dawn, kind of parallelish on your right foot, keeping your arms as such. Dylan, duck when she does so. Yeah, on to Dawn. Go inside on that, so towards your kitchen. And then from there, can you double breath yourself with your arms? So yeah, exactly. We love those.
Oh my gosh, why do I keep doing that?
Okay, kind of stuff too.
So what did Noe and James tell you about this particular thing when they proposed it? What did they say?
Yeah, they kind of outlined what their plan was, maybe like a virtual show, and maybe they would have some choreographers choreograph on us virtually.
Right.
But they didn't say, you know, who the choreographers were or what the work was going to be like. So we kind of just said, of course, like we'll do anything for you.
We'll follow them. So
yeah, and then maybe a week or two later, they came back and they're like, all right, we paired you with Penny. They kind of paired artists with different people or asked the choreographers, you know, who they wanted to work with. And we were, you know, so fortunate to
we got to work with Penny, who we worked with last year for the first time with SDC. So that was.
We're also in a kind of a unique scenario because we're together in quarantine, whereas a lot of people are, you know, solo dancers with non-dancers. So it worked out that, you know, she could work with both of us, and we're really lucky.
Nice. Yeah. Very nice. Good. So it's kind of like a little pre-story before this dance break. So it's just a little, or I could do this, or we could do this, you know, so just having those pauses in there. Nice. Beautiful. Yeah. Lovely.
I guess I want to start first with the idea that you had for this piece. What were you thinking?
Well, let me start by saying this. This is the first project that was looking at these parameters more directly. Everything else that I'm doing, I'm adapting. So it was really refreshing to just start with this in mind, if that makes sense. From the get-go, it was way less frustrating because everything else I'm doing, I'm adapting. 3 to 5 minutes, no problem. That's usually very easy to sort of come up with something. But I wanted it to have an arc, you know, even though it was 5 minutes. And then they were very specific about recording outside, someplace that has this open feeling. And so I don't remember when I stumbled across the idea of how do I make it feel like this conversation is happening inside the home, but they're not inside the home, that everything about their love affair brings us to a broader space, and then zooms us back in. I guess just the hope involved in that, the fact that they can escape with one another and they're just fine no matter what pandemic comes through. You know.
Well, it was watching it, you used the words hope and future and looking forward a lot. And I mean, obviously this is the most universal situation that I've lived through for sure. So how does that external given about our lives affect you as an artist when you're thinking about making something new?
Yeah, it's a strange feeling. Knowing it's confined to particular spaces, knowing I'll never be there with them. It's already has a melancholy to it, a very surreal feeling to it. Um, but then I think we're far enough along in this process of being self-isolated and what have you, that we're all thinking about, okay, how do we make do with what we have, with what the parameters are, because we have to do something. So just like everyone else, I went on that emotional journey of, oh my god, this is never gonna work. Just pure panic and distress and grief and all these other things of watching all the hard work you put into certain projects just slide down to a big pile of TBDs. Trying to make adjustments to something that you don't want to make adjustments to. But we're here. I'm in my beautiful backyard with my beautiful family, and so you start to gather those other positivities in there. Yeah. So you come to terms, and so by the time they asked me to do this project, I think I was already in a more hopeful place.
Bug. Okay. Starts a little something like this with a dog.
That's a cute dog.
Yeah, they're rehearsing.
Sorry.
Round.
Okay.
And walk, walk, walk. Is that the walk, 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 Till?
That's the walk. Sorry.
Okay. No, it's fine. Shifting back over.
Whoa.
You've worked with a lot of choreographers in the studio. I mean, you guys do old stuff too, but there's living people that come and make dances on you. And I'm wondering how that studio work really does compare to this bizarre new situation that we might be in for, I don't know, for a while.
Yeah, it's just very different in the studio when you're with someone and you feel the energy, and it's cut off at the screen. So it's nice that we're working with a choreographer we've worked with before, and there's this level of trust with them. But as far as working with someone new, I have no idea what that would be like, honestly.
Right.
Yeah.
Is your dog wearing a katydid?
Is he wearing a what?
You know those katydid warm-ups from, oh, you're too young, never mind.
But yeah, he is wearing warm-ups.
He is.
We thought maybe it would make him slow down.
More calm.
Make him calm. I don't know, we're hoping. He is insane.
Good.
We're looking at you making something in this case specifically for possibly, I'm going to hold up, it could be me watching it, I hope not, on my telephone. I hope I have a full screen. But,
Yeah, that's
a
the
lot
reality.
of people are watching it. So how do you think about the Hotties in that space?
It's definitely an adjustment, but what I'm learning a little bit every day, honestly, is the possibilities that it also holds. Just the fact that the camera angle can gather so much more information instantly, that can take us quite a bit of time to get to in a stage production. So when you're ready to embrace it, it offers an out to a lot of other complications that you would have to find a way out of more awkwardly in real life. And so it's kind of a strange new relationship with what I'm building, because I hand it over to someone else. Luckily, he's very, very open to my to my ideas, and I think he's going to follow through with my guidance. But it offers a little bit of an eraser to you, or a copy and paste, or there's more to do with it, and in this case their words do it as well. Since I started with that, I had them record themselves just talking with a couple thoughts in mind about quarantine, about certain things, and they're just so adorable. They had, their voices are full of life. They're laughing the whole time, and So their love for one another is it's just bouncing all over the place in that recording. And I think that helped me just figure out, okay, we can ride this wave and stay back with the dance a little bit.
I know that she had you record yourselves, but did she come to you with an idea, with a theme? I mean, how did the work start?
Right off the bat, she said that she was like, I want you guys to ask each other a series of questions. Like, I'm going to send you the questions and I want you guys to record your answers because I want to use that as part of the music.
I miss our friends.
Okay, how are you handling spending this much time together, Elle?
Elle. I don't think I could spend this much time with anybody else. So there's been a lot of quality time. I think you said it was like an extended layoff.
On
Maybe not.
April...
Whatever. 26.
26.
All right. What are we doing? Are we just
We're shooting the shit.
Oh
We're just
my
banter.
God.
It is Sunday morning, comfy, and then we're gonna start answering the questions. Do you need a prompt?
And the
Send it to us.
questions were kind of around what was going on right now and how we were dealing with it and how we were, and that was only, like a month or two, I guess, into the stay-at-home order. So, things obviously have changed since that particular interview,
Moment in time.
but yeah, that's kind of where it was central around. And she wanted to, work with what we had going on and some ideas. And I think it kind of formed into this new idea of like being at home, but like feeling
Going through this like a different kind of adventure. I think, she's going to have us start at our apartment and then we're going to go outside. And her whole idea is that we're kind of taking this journey. She wants us, all the choreography goes in one direction.
So I think pretty immediately I gave it a trajectory through space, so that I could just plan that way and we could speak to the future or to the past. We ended up kind of directing everything in that way because there is no stage right or stage left, or but I have to indicate with language what way they're facing or what way they're moving. And so yeah, it started to make sense for them, at least, the future and the past, and then to redirect everything to the future basically, and that the camera would follow them along their path.
To future or to corner?
yeah, it's a future.
I think future, yeah. Future, yeah. And I like that kind of slight diagonal you guys had, and then you'll flatten out here. Yeah, that where you kept upstage a little bit of her, Della, and that was great. You want to walk through that again?
Yeah, still
Okay.
You guys are.
All right.
Where do you want the, yeah.
Have we settled on a location? Penny, or are we still kind of up in the air?
It's kind of up in the air. I love what you sent, although I love what they did too, in that space. Anywhere it could look beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, from seeing the dance, it seems like we can kind of shape it a little bit in the location too, of like how far to push things and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. As long as it has that sort of linear path into the future.
You mentioned on Saturday that you did make a video for Penny to see, right? And you were outside someplace?
We did. We went down to the sculpture park. I think they call it Elliott Bay Trail, around there. And that's where we've been practicing, just to get a better idea of the challenges that are outside.
And we've been videoing ourselves and then sending it to Penny so then she can kind of see it in a larger space.
Henry, any questions for these guys or anything that you want to say even?
I mean, no, I'm just in the process of thinking through kind of where my attentions are following in each kind of specific piece. Just thinking where kind of we want to place the audience when we're deciding on where the shot goes. So that's kind of where my head's at right now.
Resume.
Oh, Sicky.
This is how we have to conduct rehearsals.
That's
Yes,
good.
and
Can we put
feedback.
the left one on top, Siki? Yeah. Can-
Huh?
There we go.
So beautiful.
I know they sent you a video from the location that the final film thing will be filmed, but we were watching them in their living room. I've seen you in a studio with Wim Wim. I know I know how choreographers work. I've watched a lot of you work in the studio, and you're you're only seeing them in this Zoom platform, so they're little and they're flat. And how, as somebody who needs to think about the fullness of a body, how are you doing that?
I guess I'm adapting, and without even realizing it, to imagining it in other spaces, imagining it how the camera would see it, and how that information is delivered. So yeah, I suppose I'm seeing it through multiple two-dimensional ways, thinking, okay, this is quite simple. I'd be bored by now, but I'm already thinking about how the camera might circle and go close in at that moment. So what do I want to get out of that moment so that we can tell that story? When they're doing this, it could be really interesting to circle opposite way slowly, or the same.
Yeah.
The world.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I kind of, as far as location wise, I think my natural instinct is to go with something that is a little bit more closed in, just because it gives me more of that feel of directionality. Like you can, I kind of feel that they're going down on a journey of some type. Well, it's like I'm imagining in a wide open space. It feels a little more like we picked that location because it's pretty. Especially, yeah. That's where my head's at. But I'm open for any of it. But
I don't know if she's always like this, but watching that rehearsal, oh, there he is. Hi, Siggy. She had these little words, these phrases that she was using for the different things. And is that something that she did last year when you actually were all in a room together? Is that her shorthand way of trying to translate to you two, who are hundreds of miles away, what she's got in mind?
Great. I think what we can do is, before Robot Love, could we rotate that another half turn so that we that next bit of liftingography stuff keeps going in the direction we have been going?
She does communicate that way, and I feel like it makes it very personal with you as well. Because I mean, even when we did the interview, she started bringing things that we said in the interview into our rehearsal. She's very smart that way. You feel like you're on a comfortable level with her, because we're sharing art through this medium that's a little bit weird, but she made it comfortable.
You want Robot Love to go that way too?
Yeah, I think so. And then I'm gonna have to switch another direction to make the Superman go that way too. That makes sense. So all of it continues that direction. Good. Now it's a little too dirty dancing, but
I was like forehead, and then I was like, oh my god, no.
So anyway, to go back, you mentioned that Penny's sort of concept was, starting in a sort of the idea of your apartment and moving outside, but all of this will be filmed somewhere. Where? Where is that place?
Well, we're actually in contact with a videographer now. He is scouting out some areas, and I think she wants it to be forested and like a long pathway. So
he sent us some of maybe the pathway through Golden Gardens, but we're worried that it might be too narrow. There was another one he sent that it was in a bigger field. I can't remember where it was, but there were like little tiny white flowers all over the field. It was a sweet atmosphere as well. But I think both him and Penny are on the same page. They want it to look like almost like a tunnel, and there's like a light at the end of the tunnel, which, I mean, I didn't even think of that until this moment.
Well, it's a progression. I mean, her whole thought about it is you two personify hope. So thank you. Thank you for being that personification. I need that. Anyway, I was asking what you hoped for the audience to take away from this experience.
I hope for the 5 minutes that, you know, or 5 or 6 minutes that the piece is going, that it took them out of their day, you know, whatever that is. Because that's what the arts, I think, at least what they've always done for me, is that whatever mood I'm going into the day with, I usually come out of it feeling a different way.